What's up guys, Max Tech Toy Box here. Today I'm just doing a video going over some of the tips and tricks or some of the things that me and my wife thought of when we were putting together this new custom construction home that we're getting built. And so I know in doing my research, there were a bunch of different things that I didn't even think about getting done. And then upon me doing a lot of research on YouTube and looking at a bunch of different videos, there are some things that I came across that I thought were cool. And I feel like there may be certain things that I'm getting done in this house that maybe I did not see presented on YouTube or during research. So I wanted to share it with you guys just so that you guys can sort of see this. Maybe you guys might see this idea and then maybe you guys might flip it and do something a little bit different, or maybe it's just something that you guys didn't think about. Maybe you want to copy the same idea. And so that's why I want to do this video. So first things first, one of the things that we decided to get done here in this home was the placement of certain outlets. Okay, so pretty much all of my smart TVs are going to be hung on the wall, right? So because of that, we like the idea of just being able to plug the TVs directly into the wall without having to run any lines. So if you guys look here, there are actually two different little spaces here, okay? This one's going to be a power outlet that we're going to be able to connect the TV directly to, so that when the TV is hung at this height, and I think right now I have it set at 60 inches, so 5 feet above the ground, so that when the TV is mounted, it's actually going to cover that outlet, and then it's going to be able to plug in. You're not going to have any lines that are being run down to a power outlet that's below. In the first house that we were in, that we purchased, I ended up having to, I don't want to say jerry rig, but I ran the power outlet behind the wall and down to the outlet, and it really wasn't up to code. So I figured if we're getting a new home built, why not just have a separate power outlet at the same level that the TV would be at. And then right here, you guys can see, this is another separate outlet, and that's going to be for Ethernet. So I'm having Cat 6A run around the house. All of my TVs, again, are either smart TVs or I have a Chromecast Ultra being plugged into the back of the TVs, and so I need Ethernet access. So I wanted to go ahead and put one of those behind all of the TVs so they can plug in directly. So I'm getting Cat 6A wired to a bunch of different key points within the home, specifically for my security system, for all of my smart TVs. In any place I'm gonna have a Chromecast. Also, I'm gonna have a jack in point in all of the rooms. So if I wanted to put a computer in one room, we can go ahead and plug that in directly into that connector so that we can get those high-end speeds. If you guys know anything about the different differences between Cat 6 and Cat 6A, then you know that Cat 6A is a step above. Obviously, it's below Cat 7, which is probably the highest end as far as I know at this current time. Cat 6A lets you get up to 10 gigabyte speeds at 100 meters. Cat 6 only goes up to about 37 meters. So I wanted to try and future-proof the house as much as possible. I know that Cat 7 would have been the best, but that was also a little bit more expensive. And I thought that Cat 6A was a happy medium. And so again, the whole reason behind why I wanted that specifically is because I know that when I've had a bunch of devices connected to my Wi-Fi, it tends to bog things down. At this home, we're going to be getting, I think 1 gigabyte speeds are going to be installed here. And so I didn't want to have any sort of bottleneck. So, you know, with Wi-Fi, you can get up to those speeds, but with the more devices you have jacked into that, it does diminish the quality of the return. And so you're not getting those high-end speeds. So if I can have things that are plugged directly into an Ethernet cord and that pulls in that speed versus having them be on Wi-Fi, that's better. Plus, if we're having any events where a family's gonna come over and they're gonna have to use the Wi-Fi, they're gonna be able to get the fastest speeds available on Wi-Fi because they won't have all those extra devices jacked in as well. So again, just getting to the nitty gritty, Cat 6A wired throughout the home and all of the different key points just so that we can get that higher end speed. Now, something else that we're getting done here in the custom home is we're getting a theater room built. So right now I'm standing in a theater room, and I figured since the home's being built, why not just have all of that speaker wire and things like that run now? It saves a lot of time later, and it probably ends up being a lot cheaper now versus having to do it later, because later the walls are up and it's gonna be a little bit tougher to run the wire. So if you guys can see, maybe not, it's a little difficult, right above me up here, right there, a little difficult to see, I have speakers. So I'm going to have a 7.2.4 Dolby Atmos system. So I have 4 in-ceiling speakers. So there's gonna be 2 up there. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's 4 total, but those 2 that I just showed you, is gonna be 2 on the side wall. So 1 here, then 1 over here on this wall as well. Then 2 in the rear, which you guys can see right here, and then one over here. I'm gonna have a center speaker over there, and then two front left and right speakers. So the center speaker will be a little bit lower right here. You guys can see one over here, obviously, and then one right here, okay? So just some ideas, some things to do. I went ahead and I looked into all of this information prior on Dolby Atmos to find out the perfect position for where everything would be so that I could run them at a certain height, a certain depth away from that front screen, because the screen is going to be over here. It's going to be a projector. And so all of the speakers obviously will be facing this way. And so there's a certain height, a certain, I guess you could say depth, or a certain amount of space between the screen and all of these speakers. I did all the research beforehand so that I could have everything run accordingly. And then everything's going to run right over here to where I'm going to have my receiver as sort of like my main area for my AV receiver, PlayStation, Xbox, all of that stuff will go right over there. So like I said, there's gonna be a 7.2.4, either 7.2 or 7.1.4. Still haven't figured out where I'm gonna place this, the subwoofer as of yet. Something else, this might be a no-brainer, but make sure that if you're getting a theater room built, the biggest thing that we found in the other house that we were in is our theater room got very hot. And also it was a smaller room. So you wanted to make sure that you have enough AC or enough access to AC, enough ventilation. So in here, I had the AC guy, he actually put 3 different vents up. Sorry. So there's one there, there's one here, and then one over there. So 3 different ventilation aspects for AC to come into the home. Also, I do have the home, it's being zoned so that if we are in the theater room and we're watching a movie, we can have that zone turn on versus the rest of the house so that the theater room can also be a little bit cooler as well. Still staying on the theater room, something else that I didn't mention here, you guys can see right there, that is an in-ceiling power outlet, and that's gonna be for the projector. You see in here, I have pretty high ceilings. I think it's about 14 feet. So I'm gonna have an extension pole that drops down. I think about a 4-foot extension pole, maybe a little bit longer or shorter. And I'm going to have the projector obviously projecting onto the screen that way. Running power, all of these things are just different little things that you have to worry about. And so if I have that in-ceiling outlet right there, then it's easy power access. Now, sort of staying on that same thought process, talking about in-ceiling power, I did go ahead and I have, see if you guys can see it there, way over right there. Sorry, a little bit difficult to point to. So right there, that's another in-ceiling outlet. And I'm going to have different security cameras around the house. These are the ones that are inside the house. So I wanted to be able to have direct power outlets for those in-ceiling cameras. So obviously I don't want to have to run power along the walls. In my opinion, it just doesn't look as good. Obviously, if you have power access directly to where the camera's going to be placed, then that's a lot better than having to run power or lines all throughout the house. So that's one place where another place where I have an in-ceiling power supply. Now, going over into the bedrooms, right now I'm going to show you guys something else that I'm having done. The same sort of thing in ceiling, but it's actually in attic power supply. So let's see, right here, right there, there's another outlet, and that outlet is actually in the attic. And that's going to be another power supply, and that's specifically for Google Home speakers. So throughout the house, I have them in different places so that I can plug the Google Home speakers directly in and then have them mounted in the ceiling so they can just twist. For me, that was important because I like the aspect of being able to have whole home audio and then also being able to call on the voice assistant whenever I want to. Having them mounted up at a higher position so that there's nothing around it interfering with your voice getting into the speaker. And then of course, because you have the sound being projected downwards, it just sounds better in my opinion. So I wanted to have the ability to have in-home or rather whole home audio. And I'll link a video where I have that demonstrated in the previous house that we were in, but in my opinion, it just sounds better when it's being sort of projected downwards. So again, I have that at different parts throughout the house, and not just for the Google Home Minis, but also for Google Wi-Fi. And again, the reason why I'm using it for the Wi-Fi is there's 2 different reasons. one for both the Google Home Mini and for the Google Wi-Fi. I hated having to mount them up high in like different places on top of like a refrigerator, or finding different objects to really mount them on so that I had the best sort of ease of access. This way, there's nothing interfering with the sound for me to project my voice, and then also for the music to come out. And number two, for the Google Home Wi-Fi, in ceiling or in attic placement up high is always going to give you better signal outreach in comparison to being down low, okay? So that's the reason why I wanted to use it specifically for the Google Home Minis and also for the Google Wi-Fi. So I just get better coverage for my Wi-Fi throughout the entire home. So taking a quick look around the back of the house, I'm not going to show you guys all of the different places that I'm going to have my cameras wired, but if you take a look right here, you guys can see I do have a power supply, so an active power supply, and also a Ethernet jack. And again, the purpose for that is because I wanted to have the ability to give all of my cameras a active power supply, because they're not going to be PoE. PoE stands for power over Ethernet. They're all going to have their own individual power supply. And then again, I wanted to be able to plug them directly into directly into the Ethernet, instead of having to take away bandwidth from having a bunch of different cameras connected to the Wi-Fi. So yes, and you guys will see they're Amcrest cameras. They can connect via Wi-Fi, but I prefer to have them wired in directly just so they don't take away from any bandwidth. So again, something that I already touched on briefly, just making sure there's a power supply and Ethernet cord. Pretty much that's a lot of the theme of sort of that I went over in this video. But even in the lanai back here where I'm gonna have a TV mounted, there's the power supply there and then Ethernet access. And again, for the same reasons why I already mentioned. So overall, that was just a quick little video going over some of the different things that I thought were important when constructing the home and getting it put together. If there's anything in my ideas that maybe you guys think can be improved, please leave a comment in the comment section below, because I know I haven't thought of every single thing that's available. But I wanted to put this video out there because in my search for trying to get different things built in this home, there were some things that I just didn't see out on YouTube, at least. And then there are some things that were on YouTube that I found very useful and helped to inspire me to come up with my ideas. So if there's anything that you guys may think of that I didn't think of, please leave it in the comment section below. And also, if you guys want me to continue to maybe turn this into a little video series, let me know, because I have a bunch of videos from start to finish, or rather from start to where we are right now, going over this build out process. And maybe that might be something that you guys want to see as well. So this is Max Tech Toy Box signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. And until you guys see me again, peace.